Welcome back, Merle with CES, Commercial Education and Safety. We're moving into section 2.4 of the CDL Driver's Manual, which is seeing. We all see, but we need to see effectively. When we're in a commercial vehicle, you need to see ahead, behind, to the sides, track vehicles. You need to teach yourself how to look around. It doesn't come as normal as you would be driving a bike or a car. You still looking and seeing, but you're coming up to an intersection. You're on your driving test. You're going to be graded for every intersection. Did I look before, during, and after? That's 3 times I need to be looking at intersections. Vehicles coming on and off the interstates. Am I tracking them? Where are they at? I saw a car behind me 2 seconds ago, and I don't see that car anymore. Where is he or her? Where's the vehicle at? So that's what we're going to talk about, seeing, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about seeing ahead. Seeing ahead. Now, you will have questions about seeing ahead. How far ahead should I look? We can talk about the importance of looking far enough ahead. Do I look directly in front of my vehicle or my bumper ends, or do I look my head up down the road? I want to look as far down the road as I can possibly see. If I'm on the highway, I got a good visibility down the road. I want to see. I don't want to look just directly in front of me. How far should I look? 12 to 15 seconds ahead. So if you get a question about how far and you got a numbers question, 12 to 15 seconds. So what that means is if I'm looking ahead, the distance you will travel in the next 12 to 15 seconds. At lower speeds, it's about 1 block. So how far should I see ahead? The question will be, how far should I see ahead? I want to see at least a quarter of a mile at highway speeds. If I'm at lower speeds, I want to see at least 1 city block, 1 block ahead at slower speeds. So the answer to the question is going to be a quarter mile ahead or 1 block. Try to memorize that. I will highlight this here. If you have your book with you, highlight it in your book. If you're using this, come back and review it later. I'm going to highlight it for you here. 12 to 15 seconds, the magic numbers. At lower speeds, that's about 1 block. And at highway speeds, it's about a quarter of a mile. If you're not looking ahead, you may not have time to stop quickly. But here's what you want to remember for your test. We'll give an example over here on the left side of this page, figure 2.6, 1 city block, highway speed, quarter of a mile. Head up, looking down the road. Quarter mile is what they're saying, but truthfully, as far as you can see. I want to look as far as I can see. That's important when it comes to the nighttime driving, foggy driving, and those types of situations, because we'll get into overrunning your headlights later when you're talking about driving at night. I have to be able to stop within the distance that I see. Don't overrun your headlights. But we'll get into that when we get to that section. Look for traffic. What are we looking for? Let's go back to this right here. This is what's going to be on the test. How far to look ahead? 12 to 15 seconds ahead. At lower speeds, that's about 1 block. At highway speeds, it's about a quarter of a mile. That's what's going to be on the test. I'm not teaching you to cheat. I do want you to read this entire manual, but I want to focus on the things I know will be on your test. What are we looking for? We're looking for traffic. Look for vehicles coming onto the highway, into your lane, or turning. Watch for brake lights, slowing vehicles. So we're watching a lot of stuff. Move to 2.4.2. Seeing to the sides and the rear. There's a lot of blind spots in commercial vehicles. There's a lot. Even though we have mirrors, so they've said, what's these concave or convex mirrors for? So I can see my blind spots. Well, if you have a blind spot, you can't see it. It helps you see more of the vehicle, but you're not getting rid of all the blind spots. The camera systems are really good, even at nighttime. I do love them for that reason, but it's technology that goes, if you break a mirror, you can stop and buy a new mirror. If your camera system goes out, you're in the shop. There's pros and cons to both systems, but as far as visibility goes, those camera systems really work well, especially at nighttime. They're fantastic. It takes a little getting used to driving them, but once you get used to them, they're really good systems. It's important to know what's going on behind and to the sides. Check your mirrors regularly. Check more often in special situations. You can't just look ahead. You want to see to the left and the right. You don't want to ride beside people. If a car comes, and like we mentioned earlier, I saw a car enter the highway behind me. Where'd he go? He's not there anymore. Where's he at? He could be right so close to your bumper behind you that you don't see his vehicle or her vehicle. The vehicle could be behind you and you don't see them. So do not move unless you know for sure where they're at. Mirror adjustment. Mirror adjustment should be checked prior. This is going to be a question. When should you adjust your mirrors? Prior to the start of any trip. That's going to be the answer. When should I adjust my mirrors? Before you drive. You don't be driving down the road trying to adjust your mirrors. They should already be adjusted before you move. And that's even part of your pre-trip inspection when you're talking about mirrors. And mirrors are adjusted to me. It should be, you should check the adjusted mirror to show some part of the vehicle. So you got two types of mirrors. You got plane mirrors. Those are the big flat mirrors. Then you have the round mirrors, or they're concave or convex. They see a wider portion, right? But these flat mirrors are meant to see straight behind. I want to see, if I have a trailer, I want to see the tail end of my trailer just a little bit on the quarter, on the inside portion of my mirrors. Then the other part of the mirror should be seeing down the road. I don't want to be looking at my side of my trailer. My mirror is being taken up by half. The trailer is taking up half of my mirror. No, I need to turn them out to where I can see. Now, there should be a diagram in here to show you that a little bit better, but I want to see a small portion of my end of my trailer for those flat mirrors, the plane mirrors. And the rest of it, if I can see down the road as far as I can, I want to see behind me as far as I can. I don't want to be down, tilted down, looking at the road. I want to be up and looking down the road, and I probably see the edges of my trailer on the end, on the inside portions of my flat mirrors. The round mirrors can be adjusted to see a wider view. Convex or concave, you'll see a wider portion to see more around, but even on your hood mirrors, you have hood mirrors on some vehicles, so you see your hood mirrors, and when you're scanning your mirrors, I'm scanning plane, convex, concave, hood mirror, convex, concave, back to the plane mirrors. And I'm going to sweep back across and see all of them. I want to know where everybody's at. I'm tracking vehicles. They can't just look straight down the road. Checking for traffic, checking your vehicle. Use the mirrors to keep an eye on your tires, right? It's one way to spot a flat tire. If you're carrying open cargo, you can use the mirrors to check it. Loose straps, you can see straps. If you have flatbeds or step decks, you can see straps flapping in the wind. So you're checking a lot of stuff. Those mirrors are very important. Special situations require more than regular mirror checks. These are lane changes, turns, merges, and light maneuvers. I'm going slower if I'm doing tight maneuvers, and I'm watching everything. I'm watching the front of my vehicle. I'm watching the sides. I'm watching the rear to make sure I'm not running over anything. So how do you change lanes? You need to check your mirrors to make sure no one is alongside you or about to pass you. Check your mirrors. If I'm moving to the left lane, I'm not just going to check my left mirror. I'm going to check my right mirror too as well, and then I'm going to check my left mirror. I'm not going to glance and then look ahead and move. You're going to watch your mirror until you're into the lane. You're splitting your attention between the road in front of you and your mirror, but I'm going to, if I'm going into my lane, I'm going to look at the mirror of the lane that I'm moving into and make sure that I'm in the lane before I devote 100% attention back in front of me. Cars they're impatient. It's what they call billboard effect. You get behind a vehicle, and every one of you has done this. I've done it myself, even though I know better. You get behind a tractor trailer, and you can't see what's in front of you. Your first instinct is to get around them so you can see. Okay? That's called billboard effect because you can't see. So cars are impatient. And I always have the saying that your turn signal is connected to their gas pedal. As soon as it comes on, they want to zip around you. They don't want to be stuck behind you. So we know that. So when we're moving over, let's make sure that we're watching. If I glance one time and then I start moving over, that car we just talked about that's going to try to pass you could be beside of you. So we have to watch out for these cars and the motorcyclists and things like that so that they don't, so we make sure we don't run over anybody. We're professional drivers. We have to do, it's our responsibility to make sure we're driving safe. It wasn't my fault. You could have prevented it. You're a professional driver. You know they're going to do it. So you have a responsibility as well to prevent accidents. Lane changes before you change the lanes, make sure there's enough room after you've signaled. Signal, we'll talk about communicating early, but signals are important, and when we signal, we don't start turning wheels and signaling at the same time. You give them a notification. I'm communicating to the public around me that I'm changing lanes. Signal. Let it signal a few times. Make sure we're clear before we start moving. I'm getting ready to make a left turn. Don't get to the turn and start signaling. You signal before. We'll get into that in communication area. It's important to use your mirrors and your signals properly. Right after you start the lane change, so I'm starting the lane change, so I'm looking in my mirrors and double check your path is clear. And after you complete the lane change, check again. Okay, let's check these mirrors. Turns. In turns, check your mirrors to make sure the rear of your vehicle will not hit anything. You're being graded on your test, on your driving test. So if I'm making a left turn, I'm being graded if I select the correct lane, if my trailer is short means encroaching in someone else's lane. If I'm making a right turn, did I run over the curb with my trailer? So it's important we watch our trailer in all turns. If my hands are moving left even a little bit, my head's moving left. Wherever direction my hands are going, I'm looking, glancing. After a while, it becomes second nature and you won't even know you're doing it, but you really need to watch your trailer. Curves, you always take the high side of the curve to make sure your trailer's staying in your lane. You don't want your trailer tracking in somebody's lane. We'll talk about that in combination of vehicles and cheating. The trailer cheats or takes a shortcut, so it off tracks, but we've got to watch that. Merges. When merging, use your mirrors to make sure the gap in traffic is large enough for you to enter safely. The gap is a lot bigger and you're moving a lot slower, so you make sure you have enough room to get out there and get up to speed. Tight maneuvers. Anytime you're driving in close quarters, check your mirrors often. Often, right? 12 to 15 seconds at a minimum. How to use your mirrors. Use mirrors correctly by checking them quickly and understanding what. The more you do it, it only comes with experience. The more you do it, the more natural it gets. Your brain's going to start doing a lot of work for you and identifying these problem areas a lot faster. When you use your mirrors while driving on the road, check quickly, look back and forth between the mirrors and the road ahead. Don't focus on the mirrors for too long, otherwise you will travel quite a distance without knowing what happened ahead. If I'm staring too long, all of a sudden I'm drifting and maybe I don't catch what's in front. Brake lights come on, so our attentions be quickly back and forth, right? So you're doing both. Many large vehicles have curved convex, fisheye spot, or bug eye, convex or concave mirrors that show a wider area than flat mirrors. So this is going to be a question on your test. I've seen it on every test I've ever taken when it comes to CDLs. It's just this one little phrase here that you want to focus on. Curved, convex or concave show a wider area than flat mirrors. So but know the terminology, curved or concave, convex. But it shows a wider area. You've seen them on school buses before when you was in school and they had these big mirrors out in front. You've seen a big panoramic view. You'll get used to using those mirrors. They're the most helpful mirrors on the truck. They're really good to see things. Your eyes are attracted to motion, so if you got your mirrors and you see something flicker in your mirrors over here, it'll catch your attention. Another thing is everything looks smaller in a convex or a concave. And again, the things seem further away than they actually are. So this is a little section here. These little highlighted areas, you want to focus on that just a little bit. Put it in the back of your mind. Remember that because it's going to be a question on your test. So if you look at this, we're moving down to page 2-12, and the top of the left page here, we see the field of vision using convex. Well, the flat mirrors go straight back, right? Remember I called it plane mirrors? They're down here. And then your convex or concave show the wider areas around the vehicle. And you may have some mirrors up here doing the same thing on the hood. That's what they do. Now we're going to move into section 2.5. We talked about mirrors and seeing. Now we're going to talk about communicating. How do we communicate to other people and other drivers with our vehicle? You do it every day. Every time you decide that you want to make a left turn, you turn your turn signal on. I'm communicating with my signal lights. So signal your intention. I've been training for a long time, and one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing students come in with their driving habits. It's hard to correct. We got to start with good habits. If I'm known I'm making a left turn, I want to signal early, within 100 feet of where I'm signaling at. Don't wait till you get there, then turn your signal on. The people around you have no idea where you're going, so signal early. Before I make a lane change, signal before I move. Even when I'm stopping or getting ready to take an exit, I want to signal. I may even hit my brakes just enough to turn the lights on to let everyone know that I'm going to take the exit. We're signaling our intention. That's how we communicate in our trucks. How else can we communicate? We'll talk about that in a second. But communicating with our lights. Turns, 3 good rules for using turn signals. Signal early, signal well before the turn is the best way to keep others from trying to pass you. Signal continuously. Don't turn the signals off. A lot of commercial trucks, they're not self-canceling like they are in your car because of the trailer. It doesn't know when the trailer is completely straight, so you have to turn them on and off. That's another hard thing for drivers, new drivers, to get used to, is canceling their own signals. Cancel the signal, don't forget to turn it off. If you don't have self-canceling signals, most of the vehicles, commercial vehicles, don't, especially tractor trailers, because just because your truck is in the lane, your tractor is in the lane, and you're going straight with it, your trailer could still be catching up to you, right? So make sure you're completed your turn before you cancel the signal. Don't direct traffic. This is a big one. I don't know what every other state does with this one, but as a third-party tester in North Dakota, that's a right-of-way violation. Violations can be automatic failures. You come up to a four-way stop, and you start motioning for people to come on so you can go. You do that, that's a right-of-way violation. So do not direct traffic. Some drivers try to help out by signaling when it's safe to pass. You shouldn't do this. This causes a crash. Miscommunications, right? Just know your rules of the road. If not, just wait, right? Communicating your presence. Other drivers may not notice your vehicle even when it's in plain sight. To help prevent crashes, let them know you're there. So what situations are that? We've been in this situation before to where maybe we're going to pass someone and we're in the left lane, and all of a sudden their vehicle starts merging close to the line or something. A good way to do that is flash your lights at them, let them know you're there, right? When you're about to pass with somebody, a pedestrian about to flash your lights, especially if you think they could move in front of you. When it's legal, it says lightly tap your horn. You don't want to lay on it because you startle them and cause a bigger reaction. But beep, right? Let them know you're there. So that's when you use your horn when it's going to avoid an accident. And it says here when it's legal. It's always legal to blow your horn if you're getting their attention to avoid an accident. Okay, we're not going to lay on the horn just for the fun of it, but if you're passing somebody, they're not paying attention, tap the horn, boop, beep, get their attention. And don't continue on around them if you're not sure that you have their attention, because we don't know what they're doing. When it's hard to see at dusk or dawn in the rain, so bad visibility, right? Nighttime, dusk, dawn, make it easier to see, but turn your lights on. In fog, in dusk, dawn, low visibility situation, dust storms. We've been in situations where there have been a lot of fires and a lot of smoke covering the roads. Turn your lights on. In fog, if it's dense fog, even turn your four-way flashers on. You want to be seen, not just the identification or clearance lights. Use the low beams. Don't use your high beams. High beams going to bind somebody, and if you're in fog, you don't have as good visibility at nighttime or in the fog situation because it bounces off the fog. Low beam headlights, you're going to see better. So keep that in mind, right? So whenever you're passing, let's go back to this where we talked about lightly tap the horn, because I'm not sure it's going to come back to that again, but don't direct traffic. We know we don't want to do that. We'll highlight that. Do not direct traffic, right? And that means at a four-way or just telling somebody to move over, you don't want to be the one directing the traffic. It says forget that part where it says when it's legal, but tap the horn lightly, right? When you can avoid an accident. That's a form of communication, not just your lights. Sound is a form of communication. That's what we're talking about here, communicating, right? So if you're going to avoid an accident, you're going to prevent an accident, blow the horn. Be careful with the horn though, because I'm pretty sure we got a section here that covers that, but we all seen the little kids running down the road wanting you to honk their horn and stuff like that. And officially I got to tell you not to do it, but every one of you is going to do it eventually because you like the kids. The driver may not know the kids are doing that. And if you lay down on that big air horn and they're beside of you or something, it could startle the driver and cause them to veer off or something. Let's not use that as practice, okay? I know it's fun, it's whatever, but it could be dangerous because you could startle them because that air horn is very loud. So be careful with your horns. When it's hard to see, we talked about that. So when is it hard to see? At dawn or dusk or in rain, snow. You can be easier to be seen if you turn on your low beam headlights. And that's going to be an answer to a question. When should you use the headlights? When it's hard to see outside, when you have a low visibility. Should you have your headlights on in the fog? Yes. Did you have high beams or low beams on there in the fog? Low beams. Can you also run your four-way flashers? Yes. What about the four-way flashers too? You have minimum speed limits and maximum speed limits, but let's say this minimum speed limit on the highway is 40 miles per hour and you're doing 35. You're not going to pull over and stop. Maybe you're just heavy trying to climb a hill or something. Should I do anything? Yeah, I should have my four-ways on if I'm below the minimum speed limit. I need to climb that hill and I'm not going to stop. That just means I'm going to go even slower, right? So if you're going below the minimum speed limit and you're not just getting to a truck stop or getting somewhere that's safe, put your four-ways on. Let people know you're going slower than the minimum speed limit. When you're parked on the side of the road, oh, this is a good one. So if you're parked on the side of the road, interstate or in town or in a community, anywhere on the side of the road, you're going to park. So there's different situations what we're going to do here. So when you pull off the side of the road, be sure to turn on your four-way emergency flashers. Now, on your test, driving test, you're being graded. They're going to do a start-stop maneuver. They're going to stop you as if you have an equipment failure. They're going to let you restart. So the procedure is, they're going to say simulate a flat tire or whatever their phrase is going to be. I'm going to turn on my signal, communicate before I move, right? I'm going to signal. I'm going to look in both mirrors, make sure I'm clear on both sides. And then I'm going to pull over until I'm parallel to the curb and off the road, off the thoroughfare. If I'm coming as a block, I need to be within 18 inches from the curb. I'd like to be a little bit closer, maybe closer to 12 inches. Don't rub the curb because you'll damage your tires. After you stop, your signal's still on. After you stop, don't be in a hurry. Everybody, the first thing they hear is pull over. The first thing they do is put on the four-ways. No. Signal. Show which direction you're going to go. Pull over safely. It's not about how quickly you do it. It matters how safe you do it. And the safest way to do it, signal, look, move. Move to the shoulder. And once I move to the shoulder, after I come to a complete stop, I'm not in a hurry. This is not a rush time situation. Gather yourself. Breathe. Set your parking brake. Cancel your signal. Put your four-way flasher in. It doesn't have to be on that order. As long as they're all three accomplished, you're in good shape. Then when you resume, release your brake. Put it into gear. Cancel your four-way. Put your signal on before you move. Signal's on. Now let's move out safely. If I'm on the interstate, that breakdown lane there, I'm not just going to pull out on the interstate in second gear. I'm going to stay on that breakdown lane until I get a few gears and get some speed, and I can move out safely and gradually while watching my mirrors. It's the same thing on the side of the road. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to exactly the same thing. I'll get maybe shift a couple gears till I can get some speed to move in with traffic. You got to remember that interstate traffic can be moving at 80 miles per hour sometimes. In North Dakota, speed limit's 80. Down in Texas, I'm sure it's 80, 85 down there. So yeah, make sure you got some speed. You don't want to move out in the traffic doing 25 when the speed limit's 80. So make sure we get some speed up. If you are going to be there for more than 10 minutes, and that's it. I get out, I stop, put my four-ways on, I walked around the truck, discovered that I have a flat tire. Okay, we're going to be there more than 10 minutes. Now, those red reflective triangles in that emergency equipment that we talked about that's mandatory to have, I'm going to set them out. If I'm on one-way traffic, interstate's one-way traffic, there's no vehicles coming at me, right? All the triangles are going to go behind me. I'm going to put one 10 foot behind me, 100 feet, and then 200 feet. I don't see this question too much on the test. If you're on two-way undivided highway where you have traffic coming both directions, right? I need to inform the people in front of me as well as behind me that I'm broke down. So the one in front will go, see it's on the edge here, it's not sticking out here, it's right along the edge here, 100 feet out in front of me. Then I'll put one 10 feet behind me here, and then 100 feet behind me. That tells people behind me and in front of me that I'm broke down. Here's the question that you're going to get. And the answer is going to be, that's 100 to 500, right? The answer is going to be within 500 feet. So if you look on the chart over here on the figure 2.10, you see the dot that's moving. Cars are coming over the hill. You're on this side of the hill. Maybe you're further down the hill. I don't know that there's a vehicle broke down. I don't want to be surprised when I get to the top of the hill. So I want to put my triangles out within 500 feet of my vehicle. Any more than that, the driver may think that, oh, I see the triangle, and all of a sudden it's too far back. Oh, maybe somebody forgot the triangle. Then all of a sudden they see the vehicle broke down within 500 feet. Same thing with the curve. I'm coming around the curve, I may not know there's a vehicle broke down here. I want to give them warning for the people coming around the curve here that there's a vehicle broke down in front of them. Again, the answer is going to be within 500 feet. So where do you put your triangles on a hill or a curve? Within 500 feet. that will be a question on your test. Okay, we're going to stop there. We're going to finish on page 2-13, and we're going to pick up again on page 2-14. We're going to start talking about winter horn, then we're going to move into section 2.6 here. So go back, do some studying on that. Remember the things that I highlighted and talked about that I know is going to be on the test. This is going to help you pass your permit test. So just take your time. You're not in a hurry. Do it at your own pace. We'll see you in the next section.